President Yemi Osinbajo. Federal government supports African development banks' move to avert food crisis. Shares in Asia Pacific mixed in Wednesday trade, plus oil rises on Russia gas tension, China's stimulus hopes. This is Business Express on a network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Leah Katung. Babatunde. You're welcome. It's a midweek edition of the program, and I'll start by informing you that Nigeria has thrown its weight behind efforts by the African Development Bank towards averting food crisis in Africa in response to the Russia-Ukraine war. President Muhammadu Buhari, who stated these while granting audience to the president of the bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, described the proactive steps as a worthwhile enterprise. Adamu Sambo has that report.
Welcome home. How are you? Thank you, sir.
Since the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine war, the African Development Bank has been working hard to insulate Africa from its negative consequences, especially on food security. The president of the bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, is here to brief President Muhammadu Buhari on steps taken so far towards averting food crisis on the continent now and in the foreseeable future. The Nigerian leader thanked the African Development Bank for its timely intervention, which he described as not only appropriate but a fitting response to the crisis. This, he said, clearly shows that the African Development Bank knows the weaknesses and strength of Africa and at all times planning and working ahead. The president said his administration in particular has done a lot towards achieving food security and will therefore support any effort aimed at ensuring sustainability. Dr. Akinwumi Adesina said the Russia-Ukraine war would surely create global problems, particularly for Africa, which imports a huge percentage of its food from the two countries. Already, he explained, the price of wheat has gone up by about 60%, and indications are that there would be fertilizer deficit of nearly 2 million metric tons, which will affect food production by about 20%. Dr. Adesina also estimated that Africa will lose about $11 billion worth of food, and coming shortly after COVID-19, that will be rather serious. And to prepare against the evil day, the African Development Bank has developed a $1.5 billion Africa Emergency Food Plan, which is now before the bank's board for approval to avert food crisis on the continent and mitigate the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war. For Nigeria in particular, Dr. Adesina said at least 5 million smallholder farmers would be helped to produce 9.5 million metric tons of food. From the State House, Adamu Sambo.
Nigeria and the United Kingdom have affirmed their commitment to removing barriers to bilateral trade relationship between both countries. The countries also pledged to establish an official working group to enhance trade partnership for their mutual benefits. A statement by the Special Assistant on Media to the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Ifedayo Shayo, indicates that these were part of the communique issued at the end of the 7th ministerial meeting of the UK-Nigeria Economic Development Forum held in London. The statement explained that the goal of the ministerial meeting was to deliberate on specific economic challenges faced by both countries and how to remove critical market access barriers to trade relations. The meeting also provided an opportunity for trade ministers of both countries to be updated on the outcome of a lower-level business dialogue between UK business operators in Nigeria and the federal government, and to share relevant updates on implementation of commitments by both countries to address challenges faced by UK investors in Nigeria. The Nigerian delegation was led by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Adeni Adebayo. The Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, PAPS, operated by the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, in collaboration with the African Continental Free Trade Area AfCFTA Secretariat, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with BUNA, the cross-border and multi-currency payment system owned by the Arab Monetary Fund, AMF. Exchange of information among payment systems as the foundation for enhancing cross-border payments requires a technical process and business system compatibility so that end users can seamlessly transact with each other across systems. This collaboration lays the foundation for the exchange of information between PAPS and BUNA payment systems. Their participants will be able to make fast, secure, and affordable transactions in their local currencies between the African continent and the Arab region. PAPS is aggressively expanding its footprint across Africa with 8 central banks, 6 switches, and about 25 of the largest commercial banks on the continent. PAPS has signed very significant strategic relationships with other key institutions. President and Chairman of the Board of Directors of Afreximbank and Chairperson of PAPS Management Board, Professor Benedict Orama, said the MOU is another important step that PAPS has taken after its commercial launch. The Arab world and Africa have a long history of trade relations. And still with trade, the Development Bank of Nigeria, DBN, says it has disbursed 482 billion naira to micro, small and medium enterprises in the country since inception, 65% of which were youth and women-owned businesses. While presenting the summary of the financial statement for the year ended 31 December 2021, the DBN Managing Director, Tony Okpanachi, said the fundamentals of the bank's financials are robust, with total assets also increasing by 1.4% from 492.3 billion naira in 2020 to 499.2 billion naira in 2021. And we're remaining with that sector. The federal government's ongoing drive to extensively unlock the full potential of the country's non-oil export economy is gradually yielding results. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the commitment will be reinforced by all stakeholders towards achieving the best possible outcome. The Vice President gave these assurances while declaring open the 2022 National Conference on Non-Oil Export with the theme Export for Survival.
Through the exhibition stand reveals efforts of most micro, small and medium enterprises in the country working to scale up the quality and packaging of their products to meet international standards. And the Vice President says government understands and fully appreciate the extensive impact that this will have on the people of the country.
Some of our best stories, of course, are in the tech sector. In the last 7 years, 6 tech companies have become unicorns, companies valued at over $1 billion each. And all of this between 2 recessions. So it's evident that there is a lot that's going on. And one of the reasons why you'll find that the tech sector is growing so well is because, I believe, of the very light hand of the regulatory sector.
SMEs are the ones that take people out of unemployment. We've depended so much on government in the past years and decades as a source of employment. These are the ones that are providing the jobs. And whoever wants to survive as a government must sustain this.
It's exciting that you see so many of our MSMEs, the products are improving, the packaging, the quality, and more important for me also the labeling, because we've been canvassing that they should try and label in English and French or English and another language so that their goods will have international acceptability.
Each company that is here, they will tell you there's an intervention by NEPC. They will tell you their success story is tied to NEPC. So we are winning. It may be gradual, but surely we are reaching there.
In Abuja, Jide Onifade.
Thank you, Jide. And to further talk on the recent move by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council and stakeholders to improve non-oil exports is the Chief Executive Officer, Institute of Export Operations and Management of Nigeria, Fon Odofia. Together, we will look at issues and solutions to the non-oil export sector. You're welcome to Business Experts.
Thank you. Good to have me here.
Yeah, good to have you too. And how is Abuja treating you?
Abuja is quite fine.
Okay, great. Perhaps we begin by you telling us what you make of the recent diversification drive away from oil.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing and it's a good plan for the future, for the generation coming. To me, the oil has failed us. It has brought a lot of quarrels, a lot of fightings, a lot of vices. But I believe the non-oil export sector, right from the origin, unify the country because we get palm oil from the east, get ginger from the north. So it's an intra-country type of trade that built unity among us. The oil is just putting us into a lot of issues, bunkering, burning, debt, whereas it's supposed to be a blessing. So I believe what the federal government is doing as of now is the way to go.
Okay, so there are some issues that came up actually yesterday into today, and they include trade policies, barriers, and of course standards, tariffs across the border, all these issues, the whole gamut of it there. Would you say this is a turning point for Nigerian exports?
Yes, I want to first of all thank the Chief Executive of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council for creating this platform for stakeholders to meet. And I would like to say this on a lighter note, that it will not be very easy for you to bob my hair in my absence. When you're taking some of these decisions, when you're making policies, the practitioners should be there.
Oh, yeah.
Not that they are driving it, but rather they will tell you their experience in the port. It's one thing for you to put a paper down and say this is export proceed. Another thing is for me to move my cargo from my farm or from my warehouse to the port. How easy? Who will tell you the story of what is happening there? Is with the practitioners. So I think this is a very good thing, and I want to think and believe that this will be continuous. They should do it once in a year so that we come back and look at where were you last year, where did we plan we were going to be, and are we actually there? If we are not there, what is the challenges? We keep on moving ahead with this kind of conference.
Okay, great. And now that you've brought that in, perhaps I delve into the issue of DUE, the domestic export warehousing program. Some states have taken off, some are yet to take off. They're supposed to take off the pressure from exporters that they have to deal with their papa and other stuff there, so that you just leave them at the state level and it takes over from there. How do you see that?
Well, I love DUE so much. It's a good initiative. But given to what has been happening in the past, which I believe will not happen now, we celebrate opportunities and do nothing with it. DUE is a fantastic idea. But before DUE will work well, in the state that you have the DUE, do you have road that links you to the ports?
Yeah.
Do you have railroad that links you to the ports? So we see that even when we have DUE, certain things need to be put in place because we are not trading in isolation. We trade with other countries of the world, and the indicators is pricing. If my movement maybe from Port Harcourt tank to an airport, which the road is terribly bad, will make me to incur maybe another extra $1,000. How do I compete with somebody in Ghana who has a very good access road, maybe from Accra to Tema to the port? How do we compare with somebody in Mombasa who has a very good road network from Nairobi City to Mombasa? So the idea is perfect, but I always have a challenge in Nigeria implementation. If it's well implemented, fine and good, we are good to move.
So the infrastructure will still be a bone of contention here, just like the CBN program is also having experts talk about, well, we're encouraging export, but the infrastructure is still...
It's not there.
Not there.
It's not there. For instance, the Kaduna dry port and the Kano dry port, fantastic. Those ones have infrastructure already put in place. The other one that NAPC is doing is also giving it to some individuals, fine and good, but we must provide all the infrastructure. What is the cost of removing, of loading a container and removing, stacking it? Do we not have, in that place, then we should have a complete dedicated bay that if I'm doing sesame seed, I should be able to bring my seed on a trailer, stuff it there, clean it there, do everything, and as it were, do all my inspection, declare what I'm doing, and then leave it for the operator of the due to take it to the port without me entering the port. So that's the beauty of it, if it is well done.
If it is well done. So there's also the 50 billion naira Export Development Fund. It seems government is putting a lot of money into non-oil exports. Are we getting the desired results?
Yes. And actually, I came with some product. I didn't want to bring it here because I was expecting that question from you.
Really?
Yes. Government has done much, and even NAPC has, in a way, still support those people by giving them some standards. Our major problem selling out of Nigeria is that we don't have standards. There are a lot of standards, both voluntary and mandatory standards. Even if I produce this item and we are buying it in Nigeria, we have NAFDAC. How does Ghana want it? What standard are they looking at? So NAPC has gone as far as giving some standardization to some of these companies that were giving the fund from the 50 billion. Like at the exhibition stand, I visited a company called Binkaf. I visited another one, Archie Green. I visited Share Origin. There are a lot of them. Then Lekota Soap. All of them are a product of that. So which means that if we were able to do it for 10 companies this time around, and we're doing it yearly, over a time, would have actually been able to enter the export market.
You talked about some products you came with, and so I'm wondering, what are they?
Yes, I have from Archie Green, I have what we call ginger oil. It will interest you that a small scale holder can do ginger oil. Maybe before I leave, I will show you a sample. We also have a soup from a lady in Port Harcourt, in Lagos. She gives an Igbo name, Lekota. Look at yourself. It's attractive. We have another one from Binkaf. She's doing sliced dry onions. And then the Share Origin, if you look at her product, it's fantastic. It's already sold in the international market. She has FDA, Food and Drug Board Administration, which is equivalent to NAFDAC. She also have HACCP, Hazardous Critical Control Point. And all these ones I mentioned, they have that. Some have even gone a straight way to have what we call halal. Halal is the certification from the Islamic world.
All from Nigeria.
All from Nigeria.
So what will it take for a newcomer, for instance, to be able to get all these certifications? Because these are questions that we get to hear people ask us all the time as newsmakers.
Fine and good. The challenge we have in Nigeria is knowledge gap. People want to make money, they don't want to pay for the knowledge. Export is not a transaction, it's a process. You cannot just get to the university and collect a degree when you've not written JAM. It's not possible. So people should be willing to create time to learn export and be export ready. There are two phases. You must be export ready and your product must be export ready.
Yeah.
So that is part of what NAPC does with us, with some other stakeholders. We are an institute. We train people on export. Make you export ready before you move. Then it is when you are export ready, you even know about these certifications. And then you now look at the market with which you want to enter. At the Institute of Export Operations and Management, we will also hold your hand to enter the market. What is the market looking for? That is why we train on what we call value chain thinking. You don't just plant your cassava and ask me to look for market. I don't know your cassava. So the buyer should be able to tell you, this is the species of cassava I'm looking for. I'm looking for it for starch or for ethanol.
So I will be coming to you to also get some certifications.
We are at your service. We train you on service exports.
Okay, I must thank you, Mr. Ofun, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
And I wish you a wonderful exporting year.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. I also wish NTA should be more friendly to bring so many of us to tell
We've been doing that. We've been doing that.
Yes, I can remember the last time with Benny Adams. It's a good one. I want to also thank you for what you've been doing over the years. I believe that we shall share a mutual sense of pride over the years.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir. So we move on. And now the war in Ukraine has dealt a major shock to commodity markets, altering global patterns of trade, production, and consumption in ways that will keep prices at historically high levels through the end of 2024. The World Bank's latest commodity markets outlook report indicates that the increase in energy prices over the past 2 years has been the largest since the 1973 oil crisis. Price increases for food commodities, of which Russia and Ukraine are large producers, and fertilizers, which rely on natural gas as a production input, have been the largest since 2008. World Bank's Vice President for Equitable Growth of Finance and Institution, Dermot Gill, says these developments have started to raise the specter of stagflation. policymakers should take every opportunity to increase economic growth at home and avoid actions that will bring harm to the global economy. Energy prices are expected to rise more than 50% in 2022 before easing in 2023 and 2024. Non-energy prices, including agriculture and metals, are projected to increase almost 20% in 2022 and will also moderate in the following years. Let's now see how the commodities market is faring. Energy prices extended gains in early Asian trade on Wednesday amid simmering geopolitical tensions as Russia cut gas supplies to Poland, while hopes of Chinese economic stimulus buoyed the demand outlook. Reuters report Brent crude futures rose 21 cents to $105.20 per barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained 28 cents to trade at $101.96. And it's the third straight day of gains this week on the Nigerian stock market as the NGX All-Share Index recorded marginal gains of 0.01% this Wednesday. It closed at 48,571.75 basis points. Market capitalization advanced modestly to 21.755 trillion naira. At the close of trading, investors exchanged 246 million shares and 33 deals valued at 2.3 billion naira. The insurance industry is still taking the lead in terms of volume of traded shares. Major Chinese indexes surged more than 2%, bouncing back from days of losses. Let's join Boste Abel for updates.
And welcome, and this is the Global Markets Review. Now, investors are watching the halting of Russian gas supplies to Poland and Bulgaria closely. The move pushed European gas prices higher and the euro lower. European stocks turned positive on Wednesday despite more mixed sentiments in global markets, with the fears persisting over the global growth outlook. DAX topped 0.22%, FTSE 0.47%, and CAC 40 of France 0.55%. Shares in Asia were mixed on Wednesday as mainland Chinese stocks bounced back after days of losses. The Shanghai Composite gained 2.49% at 2,958.28. The Hang Seng Index also appreciated 0.06% across 19,946.36, while the Nasdaq Composite dipped 1.17% at 26,386.63. U.S. stock futures are bouncing on Wednesday after Microsoft's earnings results suggested the tech-led sell-off in April may be overdone. Nasdaq 100 futures gained 0.87%, S&P 0.84%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average also gained 0.98%. While it was mixed trading for African markets, with the South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40, Namibia's overall index, and Tunisia's Tunidex posting gains. Nairobi's all-share dipped, while Ghana's GSA Composite was muted. That's the Global Market Review. I am Bosse Abel.
With that global outlook, we end this episode of the program. And of course, Business Express will return Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. We value your feedback, so keep them coming in. And my name is Leah Katung, Babatunde saying, God bless Nigeria and have a wonderful day ahead.